Okay. This is all right. Hello, everyone. This is John Jenkins, and the question for today is, when did I realize that I had defeated gangstalking? So, for those of you who don't know, gangstalking is a global phenomenon. A lot more accepted today than it was when I first started. Anyway, the question for today is, when did I realize that I defeated gang stalking for good? So I usually reference the time when basically I think it was around 2007, sometime around 2007, and the gang stalking had been going on for about a year, I guess, or I guess a year, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, the gang stalking had been going about for a year and a half, and it was heavy. It was heavy with the V2K, and basically the V2K was basically the V2K is just normal sound waves. You can actually record it on a audio recorder. So anyway, it was normal sound waves, but the sound was so penetrating that it would cause your heart to skip a beat. And I was saying that basically the day that I had the day that I had been exposed to V2K so much that I built up an immunity to it. I said that was the time when I realized that I had defeated gang stalking permanently. But the real answer is that I knew from day one, from the day that gang stalking started, that I had defeated it completely. I knew from the first day that it started that I had defeated it completely. So basically, I mean, due to the circuit, basically I had learned. Basically, I had read a lot. I had been exposed to a lot of educational materials, and basically I knew that the only way, typically the only way that people can really defeat a black guy, especially in America, typically the only way that people can really defeat a black guy is by convincing him to have sex with somebody that he's not married to. That's typically the only way that people can defeat a black guy. Even if they shoot you in the head as a black guy, they really can't defeat you. They can't silence your message. Even if they murder you, they can't really defeat you. Even if they put you in prison for murdering somebody else, or they put you on death row for murdering somebody else, they still really can't defeat you. The only real way that people can defeat a black guy is by convincing him to have sex with somebody he's not married to. Because then, obviously, right after that happens, you know, she turns around and says it was one man serial gang rape, and then the guardians and protectors will go online and talk about how every black man is a rapist, or so on and so forth. And then it becomes this big thing where in the old days, if a black man was even accused of raping a white man, raping a white woman, if a black man was even accused of raping a white woman, white people would get in their trucks and they would burn the entire black community. So they white people didn't play about that part. So typically, the only way that people can defeat a black guy is if they convince him to fornicate, and we saw this with Sam Cooke, who was killed over that. We saw it with Jack Johnson. We saw it to a lesser extent. I know this was different, but we saw it to a lesser extent with Emmett Till, and more recently we saw it with uh, uh, Kobe Bryant, Donovan McNabb. Who was that other guy? The the former football player. I forget his name. We heard about it with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a big one. we heard about with Michael Jackson. And so yeah, so basically, I mean, as long as I never fornicated, they couldn't defeat me. And even if I did fornicate, even if I did fornicate once, even if I had a single child out of wedlock at some point, which I didn't, they could not. You know, I would be light years. I would have been light years ahead of what my parents were doing at the time, because my parents were just dumping out millions of children that they had no intention of supporting. So even if I even if I had even if I had one child out of wedlock and I stayed in that child's life and I raised that child to adulthood, that wouldn't have been anywhere near as bad as a dump and forget that my parents were doing, and you know, to a certain extent still doing. So that was when I realized. I realized from the very beginning, from when gangstalking started, I already knew what their ultimate goal was, and I knew exactly what I had to do to counteract it. And it was easy from that point, because anything other than what they wanted was a win. So that's the topic for this video. I gotta Zoom appointment in a few minutes, so I have to get out this video. So thank everyone for your help. Have a great day and goodbye.